Well, g'day guys. Pleased to announce that all is well in the camp. The Jackson brothers are getting on. I'm waiting for a microphone so I can talk a bit while I'm operating the dozer. It's apparently a bit too much background noise otherwise, so the big dirty old V8's a bit too noisy. We've got Robbo joining us in the paddock here. I'll turn around. It's coming up here somewhere. Well, there he is. So we found out how you get good performance out of a deer when you have the old cat chasing it. It's not misbehaving now. Showing a bit of respect. Gotta keep him humble, old Robbo. We'll start getting a big head with all those horsepowers there. We've got the team back together, so it feels good, eh? We're probably about halfway through our job, I reckon, down here, and yeah, had a bit of rain last night. So we're just sort of trying to get things to come to us again. Well, g'day guys. Another day in paradise. Today we're, surprise, back on the dozer again. We're still doing our contour banks. You might notice I got a little extra bit of fluff on the mic. We're just having trouble with the background noise being a bit too high. So hopefully this take 3, I think it is, should be a bit better. So I thought, I was talking to my acting coach, Matt, and I need to put a start, a middle and an end to my videos. So I'll try my best. I'm certainly by no means a actor. So what we're doing today is I'm just starting another contour, a new one. So I'll try my best to take you through the journey of that and what we do. So I'll gonna turn the camera around so you're not looking at my face, and you can look at something a bit more exciting, hopefully. So I'll turn you around and strap you in so you're nice and comfortable. Hopefully you can see what's happening here. We're just starting, we start our banks by ripping first most of the time. So what we're doing is we're ripping in a line. It makes it easier to push, plus also gives us a mark to know where to come back to. So the idea is, I like to have my blade, I don't know whether you can see, but there's a crossbar on the extension of the blade. So I like to have that just in level with the top of the bonnet. And I have it on this flat country about 600 to 700 mil higher than my finish cut. And that allows, as you go down the slope of the hill, to be able to sort of, what you don't want, it's a bit hard without a diagram, but I'm a very visual learner, my wife tells me. But you basically, if you can have your bank starting before you're actually at your zero line and the natural elevation of the country, it means you don't need as much dirt for your bank, so that works quite well. So yeah, just enjoy the ride here while I just try and guide my way into the waterway. So this is coming up to the waterway where we're trying to feed it all in, all the water. Will say an interesting thing is I've noticed probably contours aren't that, or contour banks as we call them, aren't that familiar in a lot of parts of the world, and I think maybe, I don't know why the reason is, but I will say that when we, me and Phil, we went to Europe there, we found that a lot of the country is reasonably slopey, and yet they don't seem to have the wash. So it's, whether it's because the rain doesn't fall as heavy or the soil's just got a different structure, it just doesn't seem to warrant having the banks to stop the water eroding the soil, which I find fascinating, because here it's very fragile. So I normally like to do about three ripper lines, sometimes more, but 3 gives you a good floor or a good tray. So I'll come back to you when I finish ripping here, and I'll show you how we sort of progress through the contour, what we're looking for as far as what I'm aiming for in benchmarks and that sort of thing. Just starting on the start of this bank at the waterway. So it's really really important when you're at the waterway end to make sure you get it as flat as you can as it goes into the waterway, so that any drop off you have, it'll erode back and then it'll lead back into your paddock. So I'll just, so I'm going backwards here, I'll turn around and hopefully you can see in the camera. Down there I've got it fairly flat. This is a good waterway because it's very flat. A lot of them, especially with a bit of slope, are very badly eaten out, so they have like a massive 2 or 3 metre drop off, and that, yeah, it's pretty well, not impossible, but very hard to get it to work for you without having to put like geo-mesh or rocks in the exit there, or the entry into the waterway. So we just always try to, when possible, I nearly was going to do the other way, but I thought no, if I'm on camera, better do it the right way. So we start at the waterway end, so that if we have a breakdown or we get rained out, we don't have a big lake. If you start at the other end and you don't finish, or something happens, you end up with a hole where you've got water stored, and then it blows out into the paddock and then makes a real mess with erosion. So it's always better, if possible, to start from the drainage end first, I suppose you would say. This bank so far, what I'm doing is taking about a half to a quarter of a blade at a time, and I'll angle the dozer slightly as I come back, I'll show you this time. It might work. I sort of angle it back so I'm not turning real tight. And I don't know whether you can see my GPS pole there. I sort of aim it for my last dozer track. So I'm on like a maybe 10-degree angle. And then as I come into it, it'll start turning me around as this left side of the blade loads up without me having to turn. It just does it with the load, and then I come up. That way I don't have much of a, or really no windrow out the side. It also, if I've mucked up on the left side of the blade and gone a bit deep, when the right side of the blade's coming across it, it just fills up that hole if I've made a stuff up. So once again, we've lined the pole up with my last dozer track. Come in, get into my floor here, aiming for the green. If I'm a little bit off, like 10, that's 10 centimetres or 100 mil increments there. If I'm a little bit off too, then the second one, when I come back over it with my right side of my blade, I can just dress that off to get it nice. And I'm trying to cut it off at about 1 metre. By the time you allow for compaction and everything like that, it sort of goes down to probably 600, 700 mil. This is pretty short bank, so I'll not too worried about going too high. Maybe 600 to 700 I think will be plenty high enough for me. So I like to get it in, have about a dozer length in the floor, and then I'll start easing my way out. We're in favour bean stubble, and oh boy, it's blocking up our radiators, and it's a pain of a thing. So until we can sort of rip it up or get on some bit of hard dirt, it's a real pain. Especially with the weather now, we're probably about 30, I think they're saying 37 today actually, so poor old Phil's going to struggle. I've been finding there's about 10 degrees difference in running temperature between that dozer and this one, so yeah, he might have to pull up early. But anyway, yeah, I think that's it. I might show you a bit later on when we get to finish this one. We got probably, what is it, it'd be about 500 metre long, this bank, and then we'll show you me dressing it off. I'm back again. My first assignment I failed dismally. I gave you the beginning and the middle, but I didn't give you the end. I got tied up on the phone, so sorry about that. I didn't get to show us dressing off that bank. But anyway, we'll try again, and hopefully we get a bit better. I thought, since I kind of didn't show the full story yesterday, we could I'll just show you another bank I'm doing. And at the moment, yesterday I talked about how that we try to blend the bank in to the creek so there's not a big drop off and then it erodes. So that's what I've been doing on this section. So I just need you to visualise, practice your visualising skills, and pretend that this is the bank that we were on yesterday. The principle's still the same, just a bit of a different location really. So at the moment I'm just dressing the batter off on the top side, but I don't know whether I'll get down here in the bottom. I've taken about nearly 2 metres out of this in depth, just right next to the creek, so I'd be probably, it's well and truly up to the top of my tracks, the natural ground level, and that way, the reason I've done that is I'm coming straight into this creek here. I still could have gone deeper, but I'm pretty much driving into the creek now. When I'm going around the top of the bank here, I'm trying to pick a mark on the GPS and just keep it there, and if there's a low spot, because this paddock's got lots of gullies and undulation, there's yeah, a lot of up and down, so what I'll do is I'll actually shuffle dirt. If there's a high ridge, I'll shuffle it across, fill up the low spot, and we go from there. So I think that's about it. I'll maybe you might have more story time with Brad another time. While I think of it, I was meaning to ask all the people out there, I mentioned earlier about contours being something that I haven't really seen a lot of around, not that I've travelled a heap of the world, but where I have travelled and there's been a fair bit of slope. So I just wouldn't mind if people wanted to let me know if there's contours in other parts of the world. I'd be very interested to find out. Yeah, keep the questions rolling or the comments. It's great to hear people taking an interest in what you do and a different part of the world. I find that really, really exciting. So keep it up, and it's fascinating to think there's people all over the world taking an interest. So yeah, good stuff. And I'm sure Matt would like it if I said like and subscribe. It also keeps him off our back, so we don't have to pay him more money. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.